Usually give us a, oh,
Hi, this is Tom and Stacy, creators of Lease on Love and the Lease Option Contract for Love.
yes, it includes our 4-step process to help you create foundationally fun relationships that ultimately tingle your toes. And we are here to share with you again another Friday at 4 episode.
Friday at 4 for 45.
Yeah.
Say that fast 5 times.
We do that on our frolic. Glad to be here with you today, and we're glad that you joined us. If you're joining us live, welcome. If you're catching us on our YouTube channel, know that we are so eager and excited to connect with you and hopefully inspire you to create a relationship that tingles your toes. That's our work, that's our body of commitment and the contribution that we would love to make. So welcome, welcome. And today we're going to be talking about the wonderful art of communication. This is a conversation and a subject matter that we could talk about forever and ever and ever. But today, however, we're going to contextualize it in the idea and the concept of communication. But first, let's talk about why we do Fridays at 4.
Good idea. Fridays at 4. For everybody, happy hour Friday. It's the end of the week. Stacy and I, we came upon this idea the more that we looked at how excited everybody gets. Happy hour is great. Why not make every hour happy hour? But, you know, all the focus on the weekend and all the intention on the weekend, but how much of that intention is going towards your partnership, if you're in a partnership?
And I've been known to say partnerships, aka relationships, are the most unconscious things that we create. We get into them, we find somebody, we fall madly in love, our toes tingle for a while, and then we go check, okay, I've got that handled on my list. And we never talk as a society about what we're going to do after we found somebody wonderful. How do you keep the music playing, and how do you keep the romance going? And so that's what Fridays are for at 4 for 45 are. You're rolling up the work week. You're hopefully heading home to somebody that tingles your toes, somebody special and significant in your life, regardless of what stage of relationship you're in. And you want to be inspired to meet that person and to inspire the relationship and to contribute to the relationship in ways that are new and different and exciting. So I want to say, Tom and I believe in practice that relationships never need to grow old. They grow strong. But the enjoyment of being together and the excitement of sharing and bringing new things into your relationship that the two of you can enjoy is always present. It's always something that you should be looking to.
And at the forefront of your awareness. So this is our contribution for us and for everyone else to keep it fresh, keep it where we have a Friday frolic, we call them, a Friday fun frolic. We like threes, obviously. Friday fun frolic that always accompanies Friday fun frolic. That accompanies every Friday at 4 for 45. Doesn't necessarily have to be correlated to what we speak about, but we do hope it inspires you like it does, stretches you, puts you outside of your comfort zone perhaps in a way, and then fun activity. And they're really all across the board. I have to give my wife credit. She comes up with really most of these that stretch me. Believe me, we're working right alongside of all of you. That's the beautiful thing. We get to work on our relationship while we work on it and share it with you.
And these ideas are meant to be tried and true, and then I encourage you always to put your own creative twist on it, and then let us know what you discovered out of it. These are fun ideas that we put a lot of time and attention to. They're really my favorite part of the Fridays at 4 experience. So they are ways for you to connect. They are activities that you and your relationship partner can build and communicate and share and laugh and enjoy. It's to bring spark and fun back into your relationship by doing something new. And that's a super tip, by the way. Doing something new in your relationship always elicits what we refer in psychology as trauma bond. Yes.
So typically with the Friday fun frolic information, there's many times we have a video that we send out after the hangout. Talks a little bit. Stacey and I talk a little bit about the frolic, about the activity. Then there's many times there's recipes, there's suggestions, there's PDFs. It's just a labor of love. And just please take us, use it and share with us how it works for you and what did you do differently. I mean, it's not set in stone. It's just a place to start with you and your partner. Right. And there's usually sometimes there's there's options, various
levels of
levels
options for where your relationship is, or where you feel like you're comfortable, you and your partner. So,
there is with this one.
Yes, and we'll talk more about that at the end of the session. I just wanted you to know that that's up and coming. So we'll share that with you later, but you can always count on us for some type of an inspiring frolic, aka date, that you can share with that somebody special at the end of the work week. Wow, that was a really long-winded explanation of Friday.
Well, a little more in-depth review, why we're here, what we're looking to accomplish, what we're hoping to contribute to you and your partner, and the experience, and deepen and strengthen and renew, recommit, all those wonderful adjectives.
Yes, and actually, while I'm on the topic of like administrative types of invitations, I would also, if any of you have questions that you would like to ask us out of our frolics, out of our content that we're talking about today on the frolic, or just because it's happening in your relationship and you want to discuss it, please send us your questions at love, L-O-V-E, at leadsonlove.com, and we would love to. Sometimes we'll include them on this episode. Sometimes it's the inspiration for the content that we create. And sometimes we'll just respond back to you personally, but I want you to know that we read all the emails, we respond to all the emails that we receive, and we really would love to hear from you. Tom and I are very much committed to changing the story around committed relationships being something you just drag along for the duration of your life. They're meant to be co-creations that are constantly evolving, and they need focus, and they need attention, and they need inspiration, and they need energy, and they need fun.
Fun.
So, back to our topic of conversation today. Our topic today, as we had shared with you, was the topic of communication.
Communication.
And communication can be a challenge. Especially, interestingly enough, we find that more times than not, communication becomes more challenging the longer that you're in a relationship. And sometimes we find that odd. Don't you find that odd? Because you would think the more time that you spend together, right, the easier it is. And sometimes the longer you are in a relationship, the more you can kind of pick up on each other's cues, and they become more and more subtle. But the space you had when you were new, you didn't really know what that partner's raise of the eyebrow meant, but now you do. And you don't know what the partner is communicating to you when they, instead of kissing you, swing outside the bed and stomp off in that particular footstep pattern, right? That has the particular tonk,
heavy thumping.
Right?
The heavy thumping.
You do that in the beginning of a new relationship, you're just thinking, whatever. But when you've been together for a long time, for a substantial amount of time, you know exactly what that tonk means, and you know exactly what it is when they swing out, and you know exactly what it means when that eyebrow goes up. And then according to what's going on for us internally, we can start making up all kinds of great stuff that will escalate any type of a simple topic off the chart, right? And so communication is more than the words we say. It's the behavior that we exhibit in our relationships. It's the things that we do. And sometimes we have to really watch our body language, right? Like body language is 82%, I think, statistically, of what the communication is that we're giving off. We have to be aware of our body language and how we are contributing and demonstrating this service and compassionate love to our partner. And so this brought us to the topic of
5 Languages of Love. It's a wonderful book that's been around for quite some time.
1992. Gary Chapman, being a doctor himself and studying behavior, relationships, a marriage counselor in his own career, wrote an incredible book called The 5 Love Languages. And I'm seeing it showing up recently, which kind of sparked this whole conversation in more of the corporate environment. They're starting to use it in critical communication that happens between teams that are working in corporations. But ultimately, it started in just relationships of committed couples. He uses married couples, but 5 Love Languages is an incredible body of work, and it's so true. The love language that you grew up in, the language that was used to demonstrate to you that you're important, that you contribute to your family, that you're loved, that you're cared about, that you're acknowledged whenever you exceeded, you made that goal on the soccer team, or you killed it in the debate team, and you just contributed to your family. Let's say you come home and randomly did the dishes. However that was communicated to you as a child is your native language, which makes total sense. And he talks in depth about the 5 love languages in his book and where that love language comes from. So Tom and I, interestingly enough, as we were starting this hangout, started, again, we've talked about this topic many times, but we started exploring love languages, right? I'm very clear on what my love language is, and I can trace it all the way back to my childhood and say my mom did this, my dad did this, my sisters and brothers did this, I'm the youngest of 5. And as I asked this and proposed this question to Tom, he
had a blank stare. No, it's hard for me to think back and really come down, get my arms around what I remembered most of demonstration. I come from a wonderful family as well. Both Stacy and I lost our biological fathers at a very young age, which throws an interesting dynamic into, your life and experience. But it was hard for me, of the 5 that we'll talk about, which one I remember more prevalently demonstrated in my home.
So let's talk about the 5 for a minute. Let's just give everybody a context of what we're talking about.
Number one
is...
I'm drawing a blank.
Number 1 is words of acknowledgement.
Words of acknowledgement.
Some people need to hear out of our mouth, you have done a phenomenal job, or I love you so much. You are so important to me. You mean the world to me. You rock my world. Some people are very verbal. They need to hear it. They want to hear that they've done a good job, that they're good, that they're beautiful, that they contribute. All those wonderful things that we all want to hear as human beings. So the second one is quality time. You don't know quality time.
Quality time is a big one for Stacy. That's one that when we feel like we've had a real crazy couple days or whatever. In fact, little side note, we're ready tomorrow morning. We're very excited because we're going to take a couple days away in one of our favorite most close by spot is the wine country, an hour and a half to 2 hours west of us, and we're leaving early tomorrow morning to go spend some time there. So that will give us a wonderful amount of quality time for us, just her and I. We have a lot of moving parts around us. We've shared some of our stories, so this is a time where it's just Stacy and myself and the beautiful surroundings. It's supposed to be a beautiful weather weekend here in Northern California, so that's a very, very, very strong, specific, wonderful dose of quality time.
So the third one is receiving gifts. Some people love gifts, thoughtful gifts. They put a lot of time, effort, and energy into them.
Number 4, acts of service.
Yep.
So perhaps doing something for your partner that is really, really appreciate. Stacy does this for me, which I greatly appreciate. Lots of different places you could do acts of service.
And the last one is physical touch, and that's holding, kissing, touching. Hold my hand, put your arm around me. That communicates that I'm significant. So let's go back to each of these in depth, and and you know what? Let's go through these in depth, and let's talk about what it would really mean and what it would really look like. And hopefully, through the conversation, you who are watching this can start to self-identify with maybe you yourself or your partner.
And remember, just as in learning a new language, a verbal language, the wonderful author points out that we usually always revert back to our native language, just as we do if I only speak English. I have a goal to speak Spanish, that now I'm not able to. The same thing would be true for our native love language. So learning a new one is not that, it's a challenge. It will stretch you, which is a good thing, but it's just, we always revert back to what's, most comfortable and how we were, raised in whatever environment that's most significant for us.
And what it can do for you is you never want your relationship to have an empty tank. And Gary goes very much into this in the book. And if you haven't, I'll put the book up. If you haven't read the book already, take a read. It's a wonderful short read. And it can contribute so much to your relationship. Also on our show notes, I'm reminded right now to point out to you, there is a free profile where you can go on and it will ask you questions about your experiences in love and what fills you up and gets you going. And it's totally free. You don't even have to give your email address if you don't want to. And you can go through the profile and you can identify yourself and your partner as well, which is very cool. I would invite you to really spend some time with this, because it does really make a difference when you can love your partner in a way that they feel loved. That's what's important. You know, we all want these incredible relationships that tingle our toes, and we're all endeavoring to, do this something. And especially the men in the group, they're always saying, "Well, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do. Tell me something to do." Well, this is the something to do. The something to do is understand your partner's love language. What fills them up? What gets them going? What makes all the difference in the world? To that place where we all love to be in the initial stages of a relationship of, oh, they totally get me. They totally understand me. They totally knows what makes my heart sing.
And then many times we see a deviation from that, peak at the mountaintops experience that we have oftentimes when we're with someone in the beginning. And there's kind of the accepted story that it starts good and kind of tapers. We say no, that's not the case.
You have to constantly keep putting fuel in the tank so that the tank can stay full. And oftentimes what we end up doing is we get distracted and we go back to life, and then we come back and the tank is empty, and we have a challenge on our hands to kind of figure out how to refill that tank. So let's just go through these one at a time, and we'll talk about examples of the love languages, and how they would show up in your life so that you can identify and your partner can identify. And then the two of you can go and take the profile, which would be really cool. And then it just so happens that our fun frolic is kind of an extension of this experience. So hopefully between all three of those, four of those, the book, the profile, and the frolic, you'll have a really good feel on what really makes your heart sing. So the first one that Tom had mentioned was acknowledgement. Acknowledgement. So how would that show up if you were a person that really thrived on words of acknowledgement?
Well, to be acknowledged. I mean, we've had my brother on, my wonderful younger brother Woody, who's really a wonderful. His body of work is around acknowledgement, and I think he gave us 8 ways. That was Stacy was out of town on that hangout. He calls it an experience of matter, M-A-T-T-E-R. It allows us to feel. I think it's a tremendous validation, verbal. Many times acknowledgement is verbal. Doesn't always have to be, but a simple acknowledgement, a verbal acknowledgement, and sometimes one of the things that David Woods, I call him Woody, my brother. With partners, sometimes as we evolve, we forget just simple please and thank you. It's very important. The people closest to us, sometimes, we lose some of those initial acknowledgments and graces and being courteous and such to our partner. So as simple as a please and a thank you to your partner. Oh, they don't need to hear that. Well, yes, they do.
And whether you're male or female, everyone loves to hear, "You look so beautiful," or "You look so handsome today." I really like the way that looks on you.
I think we sometimes justify, "Oh, they know because I don't." It's the sweetest sound of any of us is our own name. I mean, my brother talks a lot about this too. Don't refer to someone as he or she. Use their name. The sweetest sound of any of us is our own name. Unless perhaps you don't care for your name, but let's say, hopefully you do. So small, simple things, just simple verbal acknowledgement. How about a card? Again, a card of appreciation, or just to remind you of that. Well, I don't know if a card is a gift.
Yeah. Receiving something.
But I mean, there are other ways. Maybe I was just looking outside of words of acknowledgement. There are other. No, is it words of acknowledgement? Mm-hmm. Okay, words, but I guess that would be pretty much in the verbal realm then.
Yes. They need to hear it. This is the personality type that needs to hear, "I'm beautiful, I make a difference, I contribute, I'm important to you, I'm valued."
Right.
And as many ways that you can say that. You're beautiful, you're handsome.
Well, and also in all of these is to get creative. Just as in physicality, there's what we call muscle memory. When you continue to work the body the same way, you're going to diminish your results because the body has an incredible innate wisdom to remember how it's been worked out and just says, "Oh yeah, we got that one down." That's why it's called muscle confusion. So the opposite of muscle memory, you confuse the muscle because you work out in a different way. So stretch yourself as to how you could in a different regard, in a different way, a different manner, but equally as effective or even more profound to verbally acknowledge your partner.
Mm-hmm. Words of acknowledgement.
Words of acknowledgement in a different way, in a
language.
new way, for something maybe that you typically always don't do, like "Thanks for dinner, honey," or something.
That was
different.
really, and it's specific. I think maybe what you're alluding to is the specificity of what you're acknowledging them for.
Yeah, I wish I would remember.
Don't make it a big broad caveat.
There was
just say, "Gosh, there
was 2 or 3 ways that David Woody showed it. Timely. Gosh, I should know him. But yeah, really authentic acknowledgments.
Yeah,
specific, timely.
I really love that necklace on you, or I really love that new belt.
It's a darling necklace, honey. It's a darling necklace. See? It's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Okay, we better move on.
All right.
We're not going to get through all 5 of these. The next one is quality time.
Quality time.
Quality time doesn't have to necessarily be a trip like Tom and I are doing here in a couple of days. It can be simply
tomorrow morning. Please.
I'm excited.
Yeah, there can be lots.
That can be quality time, but quality time can be taking time at the end of your day to sit down and share your day. Quality time could be going for a walk. It could be going for a drive in the car. It could be anywhere where you just get to sit down and talk and connect and share for a minute. It could be in your home. It could be anywhere. So quality time is just simply being the focus of, that's what's important. You can't spend quality time with your partner when you sit down and you're texting, or you're on the phone, or you're stepping outside to take a phone call, or that's not quality time. Just because you're together does not mean that you're having quality time. Quality time means that you're focused on nothing but your partner.
Remember, present, is being present is look at their synonyms, right? You give a present to someone, or you're present with someone when you're in their space.
Both are lovely gifts.
That's a gift, right? I mean, and anymore, we all have way too much coming at us, so you really have to, discipline yourself. Turn your phone on silent. Don't bring your phone. As I say, 92% of us, or 85%, that phone is never more than, it's with us all the time. So just give the gift of presence to your partner.
And if you find your partner saying, we never have time together, I need more time, we don't spend time together, chances are they're probably a quality time person, and what they're really needing is just your focus and attention on them. And it can be as simple. Quick as 15 minutes.
Yeah,
30 minutes can make all the difference to a person that's a quality time love language.
I have to say, one of the things Stacy and I are very good at is when we don't spend every day together. We spend a lot of days, but when we don't, we're very good at when one of us is, say, home and the other one isn't, or whatever, we make an intentional ritual of connecting before we get started in the next part of our day. We come and connect and really visit and really reconnect about what has transpired while we've been away.
And this is a love language for both Tom and I. This is a love language that we share. So I would have to confess that if I hear Tom come home and he goes right to work after being gone all day and doesn't come up to see me for a minute, sometimes that hurts my feelings, right? That's that important to me. Now, that's so silly. But if I or he get home and the other one is already there, if I seek him out to talk for a minute, or he seeks me out to talk for a minute, there's just something about that is significant about showing their love and that they care, and that we get a quality time moment to say, what did you do today? What did you do today? I mean, it makes all the difference. So if that's you, if that's a quality time thing, and you've got a partner that's saying, we never get time, I never have time, don't get too bogged down by the fact that you go, oh my God, how much time is it going to take? 30 or 15 minutes can make all the difference in the world. So chances are your partner, or you yourself, if you're the one that's asking, is a quality time person. So the next one is receiving gifts. And Tom had mentioned presents, but a love language of receiving gifts is a person that loves to receive things. It doesn't have to be big things. Again, it could be a card, it could be a flower, it could be some kind of a little surprise, it could be all kinds of things, but gifts really fill them up, little notes in their lunchbox, anything as far as a gift goes.
We're really not gift people too much. I mean, you can buy a new car though. but my sense is if you are, I don't, yeah, as Stacey said, I don't think it's the magnitude of the gift. I think it's just the act of giving a gift, and because the person loves to receive the gift. It's just like acknowledgement or anything else. It's the consistency and the thought behind it. I don't think it's the magnitude of the gift.
Yes. And how you would know if you're in a relationship with a person that has a gift as a love language, is chances are they're always giving you gifts.
Oh.
They're always giving you things in hopes that they're going to get one back. So watch for that. If you've got a partner that's always leaving you notes or sending you a little surprise or sending you gifts, for some reason, and then they go to elaborate lengths to make sure that they pick a perfect gift and it's the perfect thing and want to make sure it's something you want, and they're calling friends and family about the perfect thing for you, chances are they are a love language gift receiver as well. That's their love language, and they're trying to love the people that they care about in a way that they know will understand love.
I'll let you know when I get my new car.
So the next one is acts of service, and it's very similar to gift giving in my mind, but these are people who love to be surprised by just acts of service, and again, they can be simple or they can be elaborate, right?
Yeah. Yes, I just paused because, I mean, we're very good at, I mean, if one of us is leaving the house, seems like usually, we don't usually are, sometimes, but if one of us is, say, leaving the house and has a tight schedule for whatever reason, the other one isn't, we're very good at recognizing that, and what is it, we'll ask, what can I do? I'll say, babe, what can I do to help you get out of the house, or vice versa. And when Stacey asks me, I'll say, okay, how long, what do you need for food or beverage or water, or, I mean, we're in Sacramento summer now, it's getting hot, so, and then sometimes if I'm tight on time, let me help you out
to the
car with items that, so those are very, very, that's huge. I love that. Because it just takes some stress off, and it's just a simple little contribution. I mean, but it's thinking, not of yourself, but of your partner. What can help them? Many times, we all seem to be running behind in this busy life we live. So, be cognizant of that. What, or another one I thought about, not only acts of service, or acts of kindness. I mean, when you're leaving somewhere with your partner, instead of, sometimes we just walk out without your partner. Wait for your partner. I mean, most times if you wait, and just show that you want to be with them, that's powerful. They don't. Again, it doesn't have to be a huge act of service. It's really the thought behind it.
Right. Or just that surprise, of some people feel like you just take care of the trash, or
simple little household things.
You don't help around the house. That would be a real clue that the partner you're with is wanting more acts of service. I mean,
sometimes, in a more traditional relationship, and that's understandable. But perhaps there's more, one partner is more the bread, is more involved in the producing of, of generating the income, and the other one is more the support side of the partnership. But if those are more clearly defined, perhaps jumping over to the other role in any way that you can or support would be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with the division of duties there, but just remember, always try to put yourself, I think, in the shoes of our partner is always very helpful. And what would be a way that you could contribute to them in that regard?
And that fills them up. That's the whole point. That you're talking their love language.
Their language,
to them.
In a way that they
feel love.
Yeah, not how you would. I mean, that's all part of, becoming aware of your partner's, what language do they speak, and then speaking that language.
Yeah.
Be like us going to another country and not continue to speak our language. How much? I mean, I know I've traveled overseas, and people that have told me you will much more intimately connect with people in another country, even when you attempt to speak their language. Well, I would say the same for love languages.
Emotional languages, absolutely.
Same drill.
Same drill. So the last one is physical touch. And this physical touch will show up where people are needing their hand held, and they're needing to be close and touching and kiss and acknowledge through not only the words you say, but some kind of demonstration of a pat. And this one I can totally you're going to find as you start exploring this concept of love languages that you're going to have not just one. Some of us might have a really strong primary and then secondaries, and that's certainly my case where my primary love language is absolutely physical touch. And so much so that through the course of my life, I've had to learn that there is a thing called physical space between human beings that needs to be honored and acknowledged. I didn't know that while I was growing up because all of us were very touchy-feely. I grew up in a puppy pile kind of thing with all my brothers and sisters. I was the youngest of 5, as I'd said. And so anytime I'm trying to let somebody know that I hear them or that they're significant and important to me, I am touching them, whether it's a pat on their leg or their shoulder. I do this to my clients. I do this to my neighbors. I do this to the poor pest guy that comes into my house. I'm doing one of these, like I hear you. Yeah, that's a great prize. I love it, anything like that. And so I had to learn through the course of growing up and maturing as an adult that, you can't go around touching people. You've got to give people their physical space. I remember the pest guy that had come over to spray my house, and I remember us making a full circle around the kitchen as he would take a step back and I would take a step forward, and he'd take a step back and I'd take a step forward, trying to get close, right? Because we gotta be close, and realizing that I was totally invading his space, which is totally not okay. So finally, once it dawned on me what was going on, I took a space back, and then we stopped traveling around the kitchen, right?
Well, that's a classic example. Remember, we don't all speak the same language, so it's important for all of us to, these are good reminders, and be sensitive to, be sensitive and perceptive how you sense someone else is coming in their language, even just from a general communication, not even outside of an intimate partnership, just from just a good communication approach. We all, they're similar there. We all have different styles of communicating. It's the same thing with love language. So.
Yeah. Well, and I don't hesitate in saying, Tom, hold my hand. Tom, put your arm around me. Tom, you're too far. You're way too far. You need to get closer.
Or if we're leaving and we kiss, you say, no, that doesn't qualify.
I need a bigger one. I need a longer one.
So, there's very good. So, but clarity is a good thing, and ask for what you need.
Yes, yes, and this book will help you, and the profile will help you get clear on, clear, is that what I want? Better.
More clear?
More aware and more clear on what to ask for. That's the beautiful thing about the book, is now you have a context around, honey, okay, I get it now, I need more touch. I need you to kiss me longer, because it's just I'm not feeling it yet. I need more of that.
And so if that's maybe not your preferred love language, again, honor your partner. Good grief, but again, it's a true partnership.
But you're going to feel good because you're going to know that you're serving them. You're finally able to say, my gosh, I love you, in their language, not in your language.
Right. So again,
how powerful that is.
Sometimes men are known to be more of a doer. Well, now you have a doing. You have something you could do to really let your partner know, that yes, I do care for you, and I'm expressing myself in your love language.
Well, and men need their needs met too, and so it's good for us to know how to love you back.
Well, in any partnership,
really
it's good. Two human beings. Very rarely, I guess there are times, but that you have similar love languages and you have similar love languages, but many times they may be different, and they're not good or bad, they're just different.
Mm-hmm.
So the more that you can understand that and speak to that when you're with your partner, you're probably going to have a deeper connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, intimacy, into me you see. I think all of us are after that. That's a wonderful place. True intimacy is you're experiencing that other person to the depth of who they are, the totality of that person.
Yeah. And you know what, I have to say, there's so many people that come into my mediation office, and one of the first questions that we ask them when they're proceeding with mediation is, what happened? How did you get here? Why are you sitting across from me? From your perspective. And each, of course, partner has their own story and their own perspective on what happened and why it is that their relationship is falling apart. And 9 times out of 10, it's just they fell out of love. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean when
you hear that a lot? You hear that a lot.
And how do you keep the music playing? And what happens after you're in this committed relationship and 2 years pass and the newness wears off and the thrill wears off? And it's wonderful because Gary talks a lot in his book about then that's the time that you find true love. Not in love. We go through a process of falling in love, and then after that wears off, the as they say, the insanity wears off. You find true love, and true love comes from loving the person for all their goods and all their bads, for all their
Imperfections.
strengths and all their weaknesses, and you want to contribute to that. And you contribute to them anyway because you want to see them fly, you want to see them smile, you want to see them light up, you want to see them sparkle. And then the partner that's giving not only gets a lot out of that, but obviously the partner that's receiving gets a ton out. And it's what adds some freshness and some newness to the partnership. So it's a wonderful body of work, and you'll find that not only does it relate to your partnership, but it will relate to relationships outside of your significant partnership. I encourage you to read it. It's a great read. So I guess that's kind of it for today's topic.
Friday Fun Frolic?
Yep.
What's about that thing?
Well,
it's we've given you a really cool download of, is it nine communication cards? We just took a shot at really some perhaps asking your partner a question that you might not normally ask, really just to spark some deep communication, deep connection, and not your standard way. And there's 3 different levels of engagement, I guess, so not rules of engagement, but ways that you can play.
We call them versions.
Versions. Depending on where you are in your partnership, it's perhaps a newer partnership. You decide. It's not for us to decide, but we always try to be sensitive to. There's people dancing in this thing we call relationship at all different points and places and times. So,
choose the one that works.
Choose the one that works best for you, or try all of them.
Try all of them.
But again, we put a lot of time and thought into these, and our intention is to really, provide something that's fun. And instead of the happy hour, nothing wrong with happy hour, we love it too. But use this as a really please take us up on these and really take time and gift yourself and your partnership the time to do these activities.
So I have to say something about the cards really quickly because of the technology that we use to do the leave behind. Currently what's in the leave behind is the show notes. In order to get the cards, I've got to send you an email broadcast from our CRM. So if you're not on our list for the Fridays of 4 and you want the cards that we're talking about, the communication cards, you'll get the show notes and you'll get the activity if you're catching us on YouTube, and that will be sent to you. But you've got to go to our website and you've got to click on the Fridays of 4 and put your email address in there so that we can send you the PDF downloadable there.
So our web address is leaseonlove.com. We've got some fun things coming up. We have really close to sharing something that we're really excited about that's totally on us, if you will. It's our contribution to our folks that follow us, and actually hopefully a lot larger than that, that Stacy and I are going to be financing, at least the first part of it, that we're really excited about.
Create some inspiration, and that's upcoming, and we'll tell you all about that. But to get back to the frolic, there are 9 cards that is in a PDF document that you print out. You cut them out. They're little cards, and you're going to take turns drawing the cards and asking the questions. And there's 3 versions in there. One is an in-home version. It's a nice quiet room. You get some favorite snacks and a bottle of wine, and you just let the sharing go on.
Another
Take
one's the next
turns
one.
picking the cards.
An outside
answering
version.
Questions.
Somewhere outside a park or somewhere that's special for you and your partner that you prefer doing it rather than inside. Pretty much the same rules.
Yeah, just
versus
bear
the
in mind,
environment.
if they are thought-provoking questions, and they are designed to, elicit some deep sharing. So if you're not comfortable sharing in a public place, like a park or something like that, then you might feel more comfortable
Staying home.
staying with version 1. Now 3.
You definitely want to stay inside.
Version
Probably.
3 is at home, definitely, and version 3 is the one that's designed to have a lot of fun, to really stretch yourself. Doesn't matter if you've been in a relationship for a long time or not. It might appeal to people who have been in a relationship for a while. But we call it striptease talk. And the whole idea is you're playing a game of striptease while the sharing is going on. So as you're drawing a card, the person that's going to share is not the person that's asking the question. So the person that's going to take an item of clothing off while the other person shares, ask the question, and while the person is sharing, as long as it's meaningful, personal, relevant information, then the person that asked the question starts to take off an item of clothing. The minute they start, making things up or trying to derail the question or
don't answer the question,
don't answer, they say I don't know, anything like that, then you start to put it back on. So it's a really fun way to take the communication sharing to a whole other level of play and connection. And then, of course, once the sharing is done, then the roles would change, and then the person that was having to share asks the question, and you switch roles.
That person could be naked.
Well, once you're naked, then you go to what we call the after party.
Use your imagination. There's not a lot of notes on that one. So.
There are a few rules and things to keep in mind, and there's also some suggestions around a bonus bag, so that if you get into the sharing and the partner that's asking the question asks an additional question, then that means that the partner who is answering additional questions should be entitled to some kind of a bonus, right?
And also, yes.
So there is a bonus bag that you can draw from at the end of your sharing session. So anyway, all the notes, the rules, the cards, the show notes from today's session, as well as the additional resources on where you can get the book and where you can go to get the profile are all included in the show notes that you can get by making sure that you are on our Friday at 4 list. And you can get there again by going to our website at lisaonlove.com and clicking on the Fridays at 4 tab, giving us your information, which will drop you into our email list for Fridays at 4. That will give you the show notes, and it will also keep you informed on upcoming Fridays at 4 and the topics and such, so that you don't miss them. So I think that's all for today.
So remember, reach out to someone right now in your circle and let them know that you love them.
Yeah, and have fun doing it. And remember,
relationships are meant to tingle your toes. Bye-bye now. See you next time.